What causes fear in public speaking? So you're a public speaker, or you are thinking about public speaking, but you want to know, like, I'm experiencing a little bit of fear and I want to know, where the hell does it come from and how can I get rid of it? Well, you have reached the right place, my dear, because we're going to talk about why you're getting this fear of public speaking and how to deal with it. And let me tell you, I am almost an expert because this has been my entire life. My name is Monica Reyes and I am a TEDx speaker. I'm founder of MonicaEReyes.com. I am a Kundalini yoga instructor and I'm a psychosynthesis spiritual life coach, and I'm here to tell you about why you are experiencing fear. Where does it come from? What do we do about it? And so let's get started. So the fear of public speaking is the number one fear, apparently, in the entire world, interestingly enough, which if you break down fear of public speaking, right, because it's really not, it's about being vulnerable out in publicity. It's being exposed. It's this fear of rejection. It's this fear of judgment. And there are these different sort of sub layers of this fear of public speaking, but it's typically that. It's typically fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of making a mistake in front of my peers, fear of disconnection, fear of love, fear of losing connection, fear of not belonging, fear of experiencing, maybe experiencing this safety. I'm not going to feel safe. Fear of this uncertainty because I don't know who's in the audience. I don't know how it's going to go, right? There's no certainty in it. There's a huge unpredictability in that, and certainty is one of the major needs as a human being. So there's all these potential reasons as to why you might be experiencing fear of public speaking. It likely happens. So, I know as a mother that kids are not the nicest to each other. I personally experienced some kids in my class on several occasions where I got ridiculed, I got criticized, some almost to the level of bullying. I experienced judgment from teachers, from other places of influence where, I've gotten rejected. And so all of that, culminates and leads up into, holy crap, I'm about to speak in front of a whole bunch of people and I am terrified, right? And maybe I don't trust the words that are coming out of my mouth. Maybe I've blanked here before. Maybe I, messed up even in a small circle. And so what? I'm going to mess up in front of all those people. I'm going to make a mistake. I'm going to get judged. I'm going to feel rejection on pain. Can you imagine on a pain of a massive scale? Because you are the spotlight and everybody is quiet while you're speaking. Yeah, very scary. I can see why that would be torturous because you are going into fight or flight here. It's a matter of survival. It's a matter of life and death when you take it into that instinctual level, survival. If I get rejected, if I mess up here, I may lose disconnection of fear of my peers. I may lose love. I may lose connection. I might not belong. I might be booted out of the tribe, right? And all of a sudden I might be isolated. I might be ostracized. That is the worst form of torture for any human being. And so this is where this fear really, really comes from. It's from the survival, not feeling accepted, being afraid. So how do we get over this? So what I've learned is to find the root cause, because there are so many potential aspects and facets and reasons why this might happen. I like to go into the root cause. So I knew, for me, there was a 4-step process that I took in order to move past the fear that I'm going to share with you today. Lucky you. So step number 1 was to find that root cause, right? Why? Why the hell am I scared? And so I brought it back to the source of my fear. For me, it was this fear of rejection and the fear of judgment. I, was judged by influential people in my life. And so, I've seen them judge others. And so I was terrified. I was terrified of being judged. The other thing is I didn't trust the words that were coming out of my mouth because I had a little bit of a stuttering thing at one point growing up where I couldn't tell a story. So I was afraid of that happening in front of a massive amount of people. And so I went back and I worked through that part of myself that was afraid. I found out that I was afraid of losing love and connection. And so I then figured out that, okay, so what's then? What's next? The next thing is to love that part of you. Thank you so much for making me afraid. Thank you for not letting me publicly speak before this, because you were literally keeping me alive, right? That's what the body thinks. And so providing myself with that sort of support, connection, and love in a balanced way so that I didn't have to feel like I was going to lose that completely out of my life if I were to mess up in the public speaking, right? The other thing I did was I meditated. So meditation allows you to become more aware. It develops that part of your brain where you can ground yourself into the present moment, where you're not being swept away by the mind. And the mind is going to be your worst enemy here. It's going to be the part that goes against you, because it's what's going to overthink. It's going to overanalyze. It's the part that has all those limiting patterns, the beliefs. I'm not good enough. This happened in the past is the present, the past is the future. And so it brings all of that into play, and then it activates the body. Oh my God, I'm anxious. Oh my God, I'm having stomach aches. I'm completely losing myself. I'm feeling dizzy, right? You start to completely lose control. And it all started with this. So really, being able to ground into the present moment is really, really important. And the way to do that is to have enough awareness so that you realize that you're not your thoughts, you're not your emotions, that this is a temporary experience. And so you change your relationship to the experience you're having. So if you are here listening to this video, then you might not like the fear, right? Ugh, I want the fear to go away. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable. It's blocking me from my greatness. So first, loving the fear, appreciating the fear. Thank you, fear, for being here, because you helped me at some point. You served me. Okay, great. Awesome. Now I get to transform it. It's not so big anymore. It's not this mountain anymore, because now I've appreciated, I've changed the dynamic, the script. I've reframed it between me and the relationship between me and fear. And so fear is this little thing now. I'm in control, and fear is just this temporary experience. And so once you can get to that place of neutrality, using meditation, using that mindfulness, silent observer, and creating that space, that awareness between you and the fear, now you get to shift it. One of the things I forgot to mention in that exploration, that original exploration, that really helps is journaling. So journaling and self-reflection, that's step number one. And really, figuring out and exploring, where did this come from, and what kind of a speaker do I want to be, and really documenting what's going on is really imperative, because the way that we built that original pattern was through repetition, and repetition and new information. And so you build new information through journaling and self-reflection and self-contemplation. That's how you have those insights. That's how you have those ahas and those breakthroughs. And so you want to have those because you're building new neural pathways. And once you can grab and figure and get that insight, then you get to take off with that and repeat, which leads me to the mindful integration. So we've got the journaling, the self-reflection, the contemplation, the meditation, step 2. Third is that mindful integration. It's that affirmation. It's that mantra. It's, all right, I am a public speaker. I trust the words coming out of my mouth. I am confident. I am already loved. I am already safe. I am already in connection, right? So whatever it is that you figure out that you need to be able to build that mantra and remind yourself, repeat. Maybe adding in the meditation a visualization, seeing yourself publicly speak with that, embodying that quality, feeling safe as you meditate, right? But really embodying it, bringing it into the body and not just like in the headspace. So adding that element of visualization will bring it all into the space of the body, which is how you're going to ground it, how you're going to manifest it, how you're really going to bring it into being. And then step number 4 is inspired action. So taking action from that inspired place of, I've already stepped in the fact that I'm safe, I'm already connected, I'm already loved, I trust the words coming out of my mouth. Right, coming in from that, the new you that's already embodying this. Now, what action can I take, right? And so from there, maybe it's, what does public speaking look like for me when I come from that place? What kinds of words am I saying? How do I dance differently on the stage? Am I being a little more vulnerable? Am I expressing myself a little differently? Do I have access to like strategies that will allow me to feel more comfortable? So for me, for instance, I was terrified. So I had to come up with all these sort of strategies. So I knew that the first 30 seconds of the speech, I was scared. I'm scared, right? And so I needed to warm up. So I knew that about myself. So I would memorize the intro. So I memorized the intro so that I had that like, solid, so that when that got me going and confident, so then eventually I would be able to take it from there and channel in, the words that were impactful, coming from the heart, that were passionate. That way, and that really grounded me in the speech. Because if I blanked out at the beginning, that might set me off in this other way. All of a sudden, staying in here, like, oh my God, I messed up. Oh my God, and that's totally happened to me as well. The other thing that I do is I memorize the ending, the conclusion. Like, what am I leaving them with? How do I want them to feel? So I love to leave them inspired, right? I want to leave the audience inspired. And so really being intentional about memorizing that. Am I leaving them with a quote? Am I leaving them with some sort of, really provocative, powerful thought? Am I leaving them like, what is that impact statement? So memorizing that as well leaves me feeling confident so that I leave the stage, I'm on fire, and it's memorable, and people are coming, they're running up to the stage and be like, holy shit, you were awesome. So that's what I love. So really being strategic about that. I also, in order for me for a while to feel more comfortable on stage, I used to use PowerPoint. Now I didn't rely on the PowerPoint, but I would use picture slides or like impact words or quotes or something like that, so that it would take me, I would be able to use that to leverage that to take me through the story, so I wouldn't lose myself. I would be able to rely on that and leverage that. And I practiced, of course, ahead of time so that I knew if I saw this picture, it would trigger this thought. So there are a lot of strategies that you can use in order, practical strategies that you can use in order to really move through that fear. But I invite you to start off with the being. Like, who am I being? Who have I been being? And who do I want to be? What am I stepping into? And then from that place, moving into the practical, the inspired action, and breaking through that fear in that way. So it worked for me wonderfully. As you know, I did my TEDx last year and I was able to get through that. I publicly speak now, and it's way more enjoyable than it was before. It was very terrifying. I remember the scariest one ever was at the Women's March in front of 10,000 people. And I was pregnant. I was, end of second trimester, third trimester. I was huge. And I was like, holy shit, this is scary. I remember seeing all those people and feeling that energy and like cursing myself out in the background. Like, why did I sign up for this? Why did I sign up for this? Why do I do this to myself? Why do I constantly stretch myself? And having to use my tools before I stepped up there, that was really scary, but I did it and I felt confident and I left feeling amazing. And I know that you can too. And I hope these tools serve you the way that they served me. I hope you like this video. If you found value in it, please like the like button. And if you have any tips or anything else, I'd love to hear about it. Go ahead and comment below. And if you like videos like this, please subscribe and hit that bell, because you'll get a notification every time a new one is released. Well, as always, thank you so much. It's such an honor to have you. Thank you so much for following my channel and for listening. And as always, make it a great day.